What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Ready for another early morning crypto talk. What's going on, Chris Stevens? What's happening, Marquise? Albert? Rick Sanchez, what's happening? Eric, back at work, right? Aloha, Renee. Pamela says, is it chilly in SoCal? A little bit. It was raining the last 2 days. Today it's a little chilly, but by this weekend it's supposed to be back up in the 80s. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Mr. King. We'll be getting started in just a second. I need to inform my other groups that we are live. Happy Wednesday to you, John. How you doing, Rob? And hello, Benita. I tell you what a wild and wacky crypto world it is. What's going on, Rob? Never a dull day in the crypto world, I tell you that. Every day, there's something new taking place. And one thing that I've had to learn, and I remember my mother teaching me this from early on, is that only focus on the things you can control. Only focus on the things you can control. The things that you cannot control is going to happen whether you worry about it or you don't worry about it, whether you celebrate it or not. And that's never more true than in the crypto world, where things can change at the drop of a dime. Has nothing to do about you, has nothing to do about your skills. Don't take it personally. Be able to adapt and adjust at any moment. And always be diversified. Always be diversified. So, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to start with this article that just came out as I was speaking right now because it's intriguing. And I said this before. A couple of weeks ago, I said, in 2018, do you know what two booming industries are going to be in the crypto space? CPAs. And law attorneys. People that deal with taxes, law taxes, and attorneys in the crypto space are going to make a killing. There is going to be a huge demand for that. A huge demand for that. Why? Well, for the last couple of years, people have been trying to skirt the tax laws of the United States by not reporting their crypto earnings. And unfortunately for all of us, that has come to an end. Donald Trump signed the tax bill, snuck in one word that says real, and that's all it took. One word, real. Changed everything. Now your crypto, you're going to be taxed when you pull it out and put it into your bank. You're going to be taxed when you purchase it. You're going to be taxed when you hold it. You're going to be taxed when it rises in value. You're going to be taxed when you trade it with another coin. The government finds a way. They can't criminalize it. They can't ban it. They will regulate and tax it to death. Last year it wasn't earnings until withdrawn. That's not the case anymore. Those of you who voted for Donald Trump, we thank you. Why? because now the new law says only real property is protected by capital gains tax. And that if you're just holding crypto or you're trading it amongst other crypto, even if you don't put it into your bank account, you will be taxed on it. Thank you, Donald Trump supporters. So, and if you are a tax attorney or a CPA, anything, you are in luck. Turn the music down. There is no music, Jason. Turn your computer down. So if you are if you're a lawyer, that's a huge market. The other market is a bank. The first bank to come out to cater strictly to crypto is going to make a freaking fortune. And look what just happened. I've been saying that for weeks. Let me get this link to this article, and I'm going to put it in the chat box here. I wish I had the resources to do something like this. I have the idea, not the resources. But this article is about Michael Novogratz and his $400 million bet to form giant crypto merchant bank. Now, that's why, I wasn't planning on talking anything other than Venezuela, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But this popped up while we got started. This is huge for all of us. Michael Novogratz is opening up a giant crypto merchant bank. He has my money. All right? As soon as that sets up, I am creating an account. Let me read it. Billionaire investor Michael Novogratz pulled back from Bitcoin toward the end of last year, citing market volatility, and ultimately scrapped his much-anticipated crypto hedge fund as a result. He's since returned with a market-defining announcement of plans to open a full-service crypto merchant bank, which some are describing as the ecosystem's Goldman Sachs, and he's betting his entire $400 million worth of crypto assets on the ambitious project. I'm with you, Michael. You got me as a customer. The new year kicked off with a bang in only its second full week. Here's another thing, guys. What's what I tell you? There's yin and yang in the universe. There always has been. There always will be. Nothing will ever go perfectly as planned. For every positive, there's a negative. The reason why some people succeed and fail is how you respond when the blowback happens, when the pullback, when the rubber band effect happens. Everybody wants to shine in the sunshine, but they don't know how to act when the sun goes down. So I said that this year is the year that the empire strikes back. And it is. I stated that every single one of you in the crypto space will lose something somewhere along the way. And that is true. But just because you lose somewhere doesn't mean it's the end. You adapt and you keep moving forward. So with all the empire striking back on us, what does Jeff Goldblum always say in what's that done in Jurassic Park? Life always finds a way. There's always a way. And so new things come up that you never thought of before. New industries spring up to meet the demand if the current structure does not want to allow for it. And look at what we have here. People are worried about their bank accounts getting shut down at the banks because you're dealing with Bitcoin and crypto. So, since the banks want to act stupid, somebody's stepping up and fulfilling that demand. And this is the positive part of all the negative news that's been happening lately. So the new year kicked off with a bang in only its second full week. Canada-based Bradmer Pharmaceutics revealed an ambitious partnership with famed investor Michael Novogratz to create what amounts to a crypto merchant bank, Galaxy Digital Holding. Embargoed against U.S. news wires, the cumbersomely announced title, Galaxy Digital, First Coin, and Bradmer Pharmaceuticals announced business combination and establishment of blockchain, digital asset, and cryptocurrency platform. Hit the web on January 9, 2018. So that was last night at about 8:10 Eastern Time. It was announced. The proposed transaction will establish Galaxy Digital as a full-service digital assets merchant bank with distinct trading, asset management, principal investment, and advisory business lines. The release carried in subtitle, Bradmer First Coin Capital Corp. And Galaxy Digital will form a merchant bank publicly listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, a Canadian electronic trading platform. Well, I'm glad it's going to Canada. United States don't seem to want nothing to happen over here. Shortly before Christmas, News.Bitcoin.com reported Mr. Novogratz's frosty feet at a double-digit Bitcoin price dip, causing him to cancel plans for his historic crypto hedge fund. We didn't like market conditions, and we wanted to reevaluate what we're doing, he was quoted as explaining. I look pretty smart pressing the pause button right now, he said, emphasis evidently on the word pause. At present, the personal investing business of Michael Novogratz, Galaxy Digital, is undertaking the transaction in order to raise primary capital towards building a best-in-class, full-service, institutional quality merchant banking business in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. Today's announcement explained, Mr. Novogratz will be that rare investment bird, one that philosopher Nassim Nicholas Taleb refers to as skin in the game. It is perhaps relatively easy to risk someone else's fortune and entirely different when it's yours. That's one of the things I have a lot of respect for him. You know, all of these critics and naysayers out there have absolutely no skin in the game. None. They haven't made money. They haven't lost money. They're not invested. They are sitting on the sidelines, watching. They're armchair generals. They're hindsight experts and geniuses, hindsight geniuses. But guys like this, these are the type of men and women that become the most wealthiest people in the world. He's willing to take a risk to fulfill a demand, and he's going to end up becoming, I mean, if he's the first to come out with a merchant bank for crypto, very quickly he's going to become one of the richest men in the world. Mark my words. Remember his name, Michael Novogratz. Let me continue. Digital Galaxy will leverage its deep ties into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other protocol communities to drive returns from 4 core business segments, which will include trading, principal investments such as ICOs, third-party asset management, and with First Coin, they will establish an advisory consulting business. Most of the legalities and regulatory hurdles are expected to be completed by the end of the first quarter, using the popular reverse takeover technique to avoid expensive IPOs. Essentially, all the companies will roll into the new arrangement within Galaxy Digital under the laws of Cayman Islands. Isn't that interesting? So they're going to base themselves out of the Cayman Islands. Mr. Novogratz is expected to be the initial chairman of the board of directors of Bradmer. Yeah, which means he's going to be one of the top 5 richest men in the world. Further, the board will have committees with charters and memberships consistent with TSXV requirements, the announcement explained. So this is the yin and yang. This is the good news in the crypto space. A lot of times you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So there's always an equal thing. Those of you, oh, I can't. I was about to use a Star Wars reference. Well, I could say this. I'll be generic. If you're a fan of the Star Wars, like I am, meaning I actually read the books that are, you know, part of the expanded universe. And one of the themes that's always there, the battle between light and dark, the battle between the Jedi and the Sith, is that there's always has to be a balance. One side never dominates the other. That's why it's always a battle. There's got to be balance. There can't be too much good side, and there cannot be too much bad side. And who's to say which side is good or bad? It's just balance. And that's how it is in life. There's balance. So this is how things go, to be expected. Let's talk about Venezuela. And why are we going to talk about Venezuela? Someone shot me a message about that. Why are you talking about Venezuela? The reason is because what happens in other countries can have a direct impact on what happens to us. Do you guys know why there was a huge dip the last 48 hours? Had nothing to do with the United States. It had everything to do with South Korea. This is why I read articles every single day, and I pay attention to geopolitics. The South Korean government, in essence, pulled a digital raid on their top 5 banks. What that meant was they want to do an audit of all the banks to make sure they're following all the crypto laws that they had just passed. Literally, they just passed crypto laws. And they want access to everybody's account to see who's dealing with crypto. Well, naturally, that scared the South Korean investors to death. The whole point of crypto is to be anonymous, to be decentralized. And now you got the government jumping on in. And then the government also said they're going to work in tangent with Japan and China to impose the regulations. So when that happens, you naturally have a blowback, a negative effect on the market. And since they're the biggest investors in the Bitcoin crypto market, it affects the rest of the world. How long this will last? Who knows? It could be a couple of days. It could be a couple of weeks. It could be a couple of hours. But Venezuela is a country that's leading the way on creating their own state-backed coin. Russia has already announced that they're doing it. Canada is looking into it. The United States hasn't announced they're doing it, but they're already doing it. It's called the Fed coin. The IMF is proposing they do it. The banks are proposing that they're going to do it themselves. Estonia is going to do it, although now they backed off and said they're going to use whatever Russia comes out with. Same with Iran and China. The ruble coin to be used in place of the US dollar when it comes to that region's oil transactions between nations. They're not going to use the US dollar. They want to avoid sanctions and marginalize the United States. I got to tell you right now, if you haven't realized it, we're already at war. It's been a digital war, a cold war. And as an American, it pains me to say we are losing the war. Russia is winning this war. They were successful in infiltrating the United States election platform. They were successful in creating division, turmoil, and chaos amongst the American political base. It doesn't matter whether you like Trump, back him, voted for him, or not. This is a fact. The country has never been as divided politically as it is right now. Where you've got one full side that won't even entertain the thought that Russia did anything. And the other side using that as a clear example to try to get rid of the president. It doesn't matter which side you fall on. This is the reality. The Russians want to get rid of United States dominance on the world. And we have 2 ways we do that. The US dollar with diplomacy. We don't like what you do, we'll put sanctions on you. And if that doesn't work, we bring down the biggest, baddest military the planet has ever seen. So since they can't attack us on option number 2, they're attacking us on option number 1. Marginalize and get rid of the US dollar. Make US sanctions irrelevant. That way we can do whatever the heck we want to do and don't have to worry about what the United States has to say about it. With the current administration's policy of isolationism, America first, we don't care what happens with our allies or the other countries. that gives our enemies even more power because we're not even together as allies. So you have to pay attention to what's going on with the rest of the world. So let's talk about Venezuela before I start really preaching here. First, they come out, if you don't know the history, it's like Greece over there. Their Bolivar dollar collapsed. The primary way those people are making money is by mining Bitcoin. It's like what country? Zimbabwe is going through the same thing. So their answer to that is, we'll create our own virtual currency. If we don't want our people using Bitcoin, we'll create the Petro, backed by Venezuelan oil. I was confused reading their statements because when a country wants to do that, the country wants it to be centralized, which means it's going to be I guarantee you when the Fed coin comes out, American citizens are not going to have the opportunity to mine it. It's going to be already pre-mined, and it's going to be held up to the U.S. dollar as its backing, dollar to dollar. But here they gave the option to let their citizens mine it. So this article came out, said over 860,000 Venezuelans registered to mine state-backed cryptocurrency, the Petro. Did I post this link in the chat box? Yeah. This is 2 days ago. We've had so much news, I haven't been able to cover this. So let's read this because new news came out today. The South American country Venezuela has registered over 860,000 individuals to mine the country's oil-backed cryptocurrency called Petro. The country is looking for more citizens to enroll in the portal launched by the superintendents of cryptocurrencies and related activities. The last date for registration is January 21st, 2018. From the registered individuals, over 300,000 have already begun working at the Chamba Juvenile Program. The Chamba Juvenile Program aims to incorporate youth from the age of 15 to 35 into labor and productive occupation. El Impulso, Venezuela's oldest newspaper, informed that only registered citizens are able to purchase the new cryptocurrency. It reported, registration is an essential requirement for citizens to gain access to Petro. They say registration is a must. In early December 2017, Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, announced the plan to roll out cryptocurrency endorsed by oil, gas, gold, and diamond reserves. The move was taken to overcome the financial blockade that the country is suffering from. Venezuela citizens that registered to mine Petro will also gain the privilege to buy other digital assets recognized by the government. Jorge Rodriguez, Minister of Communication and Information, said, natural or legal persons registered in the registry will be able to acquire other types of cryptocurrencies for free use and demand in Venezuela as long as they are authorized. Registered citizens will help the government to build mining farms around the country. Maduro told, we are going to call them a special cryptocurrency team. They will set up cryptocurrency mining farms in all states and municipalities of the country. So it said 100 million petros coming soon. The government plans to support each petro token by a barrel of oil. Maduro said every petro will be equal in value to Venezuela's oil barrel. For now, the government has credited 53 million barrels of crude oil to the country's digital asset. Petro could be a way to circumvent, I can't tell if that's 53 million or 5.3 million. I think it's maybe it's 5.3 million. Petro could be a way to circumvent, here we go, U.S. sanctions. See what the other governments are doing? They're coming up with this stuff to get around the United States. So Petro could be a way to circumvent U.S. sanctions, which have raised the annual inflation rate to over 1,000%. On January 6, 2017, this is just a few days ago, Maduro publicized the release of 100 million units of Petro in coming days. The average price per barrel of oil is $59.07. As each unit is backed by an oil barrel, the issuance of 100 million Petros will equate to $5.9 billion. Maduro, addressing the nation on state television, said, "I have ordered the emission of 100 million Petros with the legal sustenance of Venezuela's certified and legalized oil wealth." He also stated that the cryptocurrency will help dismantle the tyranny of the dollar. Have you guys as Americans ever thought about how do other people in other countries feel about us? You know, my debate coach told me, you always want to win a debate. It's not good enough that you're an expert on your own point of view. You need to become an expert on your opponent's point of view. You need to put yourself in their shoes. Look at things from their ideology. And you need to be able to argue their point of view better than them. Only then can you engage the enemy. It's like Sun Tzu. You can engage the enemy on the battlefield because you're doing so with respect. With respect and an open mind. You always have to be open to the possibility that you may not be correct. You may not be right. If you're closed off that there is nothing, no other truth out there but what you know and what you've been taught, you are the most ignorant person alive. So it is smart to be able to know what our enemy is doing and why. So in their eyes, they see the US dollar as tyranny. That we can put sanctions and impact them. So it's in their best interest to get around that. I can't hate them on that. As an Americans, we always want to be able to look after our own interests. But you also need to put yourself in the shoes of others. And you need to develop one word that half our country lacks. That one word is called empathy. Empathy. I'll give you an example of what's going on in the United States right now as far as empathy is concerned. The entire movement right now, the Me Too movement, what is it now? The new one, Not a Chance? Or I forgot what the new hashtag is. My wife was talking about it from the Golden Globes. But as men who don't go through sexual harassment on a daily basis, do we have the ability to have empathy for our women? Do we have that ability? That's important. If you are a minority, time up, that's right. And you're not a minority, and you see that your fellow Americans that are minorities, that go through injustice, that are screaming bloody murder, that something is wrong, do you have empathy to at least acknowledge that something may be happening, even if it's not happening to you? Now, I'm going way off track here. I want to prove a point. As Americans, do we have the ability to understand why others in other countries do what they do? Because once you have that ability, then we can strategize on how to make the most of our own interests from an informed position. I hope that makes sense. I'm almost finished here on this own article. Let me finish here. According to Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, the South American nation has world's largest oil reserves. Moreover, oil is Venezuela's chief export, pocketing 95% of export revenue. Cryptocurrencies are meant to be decentralized, and its main role is to provide transparency during transactions. Venezuela will be one of the few nations to actually roll out legalized state-regulated cryptocurrency. Okay, that was 2 days ago. I'm going to show you how fast things can change. This just came out today. And let me put a link to this in the chat box. And if you're learning anything from what I'm saying so far, give me a like, a heart, thumbs up, or something. If you're learning, I try to read these things and break it down in basic layman's terms that everybody can understand. You just don't read the words. There's something that's also called reading comprehension. Can you comprehend what is being shared? We were taught this big time at Morehouse College. All right. Venezuela's oil-backed cryptocurrency declared illegal. What happened? The president was just on the news 2 days ago talking about this. And now they're calling it illegal? Let's see what's happened here. The Venezuelan parliament has declared the oil-backed cryptocurrency created by President Nicolas Maduro illegal. That's right, Marquise. The House. Illegal and in violation of the country's constitution. There's a battle going on there. Maduro's decree to create the national cryptocurrency, the Petro, has been declared null and void. What? Venezuela Parliament, what are they saying? The National Assembly of Venezuela on Tuesday declared the country's upcoming oil-backed cryptocurrency, the Petro, illegal. Venezuelan parliamentarians unanimously voted absolute nullity on the issuance of the Petro cryptocurrency, El Universal, reported and quoted Deputy Carlos Valero, announcing, "This assembly tells the world that the cryptocurrency the government wants to use to issue is illegal, and this parliament will come out in front to prevent public opinion from falling into that trap." Deputy Williams Davila added that the parliamentarians denounced the Petro, asserting that the government only wants to evade financial sanctions, openly violating the Constitution and legitimizing illicit transactions. Whoa. Whoa, so you've got a battle going on there. The creation of Venezuela's national cryptocurrency was first announced by Maduro in early December. Since then, he has assigned over 5 million barrels of crude oil to back this new currency, as well as securing miners for it. This is weird. You would think the government would pre-mine everything to control it, but Maduro is giving it to the citizens. I got to go back. I want to read that part again. Why are they against this? The National Assembly of Venezuela on Tuesday declared the country's upcoming oil-backed cryptocurrency, the Petro, illegal. Venezuelan parliamentarians unanimously voted absolute nullity on the issuance of the Petro currency. The assembly tells the world that the cryptocurrency the government wants to issue is illegal, and this parliament will come out in front to prevent public opinion from falling into that trap. All right, they're not saying why. Why are they? Why? Let me continue reading. Let's see. On Friday, Maduro moved forward with the order to issue 100 million petros and promised to release its white paper on January 14th. According to Maduro's plan, the petros price is initially to be pegged to the value of Venezuela's basket of oil and fuel exports, which last week closed at $59.07. However, legislators warned investors that even if this new currency successfully launches, it would be seen as null and void when Maduro is no longer in office. The president is up for re-election this year. I mean, if he is coming out with something to save the people, and the parliament is trying to block public opinion, then he's going to win the election by a landslide. That might be a good one, Nika. Says, Parliament is scared the U.S. will bomb him. Trump has been running his mouth. He hasn't said nothing about Venezuela lately. Maybe in about a month or so. He's been focused on Kim Jong-un. But they may be afraid if Maduro continues to take this stance, United States will pull out whatever aid we're giving them, just like we just did to the Palestinians. So the parliament is afraid of backlash, yet at the same time, their people are hurting. So by taking this stance, they're gonna if you're a citizen of Venezuela, you don't give a crap what the United States has to say. Your main goal is, how do I put food on the table this month? How do I pay my bills? How do I afford housing for my family? The president is coming out with something that's going to make that happen. I don't care what the United States is doing. This is going to be, I'm going to watch this one even further, just like in Zimbabwe. Furthermore, let me continue reading. Some doubt that the Petro would be a real cryptocurrency. Venezuelan legislator Jorge Millan was quoted by the publication. This is not a cryptocurrency. This is a forward sale of Venezuelan oil. It is tailor-made for corruption. I can see that. I can see why he's saying that. Because it's being cryptocurrencies are not backed by gold or oil or the US dollar or anything like that. He's putting the Petro backed by oil. So I can see why they would think that they're, ripe with corruption. Following the National Assembly's announcement, Maduro called on the people to actively repudiate the Assembly's decision to declare the Petro illegal. Guys, let me finish reading this and I'll make the statement. Prensa Latina reported, according to Reuters, Maduro has routinely ignored the legislature since his party lost control of it in 2016. I gotta say this. In the crypto space, the laws are fluid right now. This is new territory that is being broken into. We are the early adapters. So whatever law you see right now can change for the positive or the negative or reverse itself. Don't be too quick and happy. If you see different organizations in the crypto space being hurt by certain laws being changed, because Bitcoin itself is still fighting for legality. So don't be too quick to think just because a law says something about one thing doesn't mean that what that company or what that organization is doing is illegal. Don't be too quick on that. Don't be that guy. And there's some of you that's listening to me right now. Unfortunately, I know who you are. The moment something goes down on crypto, you're the first to scream, "I told you so." No, because those things can easily be reversed as well. The laws are always changing. The empire is fighting back in 2018. And we're all engaged partners in this space trying to fit in. So you have to, like Bruce Lee says, you have to be fluid. You have to be like water. You have to move like the river. The river has bumps and rocks in it. But does it stop the river? No, it just changes the river's direction, changes its flow. You have to be smart enough and educated enough to avoid the rocks, avoid the pitfalls, know how to maneuver, know how to call an audible. And that's a big one. Because I even have to do that. Starting 2018, you may have with one set of plans and goals in mind. And then as you see what the defense is doing, you realize that they're about to block your play. The empire is about to block your play, so what do? You got to call an audible. You got to switch it up on the fly and keep things moving. But at the end of the day, like the Grand Canyon, water will chisel through the rock. Constant drip. Bill Gates already said Bitcoin can't be stopped. But there will be obstacles thrown up in its way in all of our ways. How you maneuver in it means everything. That's it for this morning. I hope you guys gained some knowledge and information, that this was useful. Depending on the news of the day, I will be back tonight with Late Night Crypto Talk. With that, have a great day, everybody. Bitcoin Brandon out. God bless. Bye-bye.